Welcome to the Show Day podcast for June 26, 2019. Last night, we had one show in Hamilton, Ohio. Tonight, of course, travel a little eastward to the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area for one of the Bluecoats home shows. I'll cover last night's results and take a look ahead to tonight, plus more on today's Show Day podcast. Thanks for watching. So, as I said last night, we had one show, and it was in Hamilton, Ohio, the Summer Music Games in Cincinnati. Not a ton to go into on this recap. General effect, everybody's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not really any variation in anything. The biggest thing to point out here would be the Madison Scouts. They're pretty close to the Colts, about a 10th off in general effect 1, but then that general effect 2 score lowers them a lot, so they're 6/10 back in general effect. And really, if you watch that show, that's the one big thing you'll say is, what is this show about? And your guess is honestly as good as mine at this point. Visual, not a ton of variation here. This is where the Cadets struggle, though, and this is where Spirit gains some of their points. You see visual analysis, Spirit of Atlanta going ahead of the Cadets in one of those subcategories, but Cadets still stay 2 in everything. It's a 21.15 to Spirit's 20.55. The Colts 7.5 ahead of the Madison Scouts in visual. The Bluecoats up at the top, of course, they're going to have all ones. Nobody here's even close to them at this point. And we don't know where the Bluecoats really fit in. We won't see them against Crown again until July 16th in Broken Arrow. We won't see them against Vanguard for a week or 2 or 3, whatever. Blue Devils, same thing. So we really don't know where the Bluecoats fit in. And now that they come east and they're with basically Boston's their closest competitor, and I don't know how close Boston actually is, that's pretty much where they stand right now. Their numbers pretty much are all 15s, except for a 14-7 in GE2. They're all 15 and above in general effect and visual. So now jumping over here to music, Bluecoats all ones again, 15 and above in all their scores here. The Cadets, they pull kind of close to the Bluecoats in music. Still, their overall music scores are not very close. 3/10 in music separated, or 3/10 in percussion, separated Bluecoats and Cadets. The Cadets are very strong in percussion. Just by watching them, they are very strong. They're I'd say probably one of the top 5 drum lines in DCI this season. The Bluecoats, they struggled in percussion last year. They're going to have to kind of get some points there to kind of start moving their score along. Go down to Spirit's line, you see a 3 in brass, 3 in percussion, but they're in the middle. I said yesterday that if Spirit doesn't make finals, it is probably strictly because of their music scores, and that's what I'm seeing here. You see they're 4th. The Colts are ahead by a 10th, and then Madison's kind of separating themselves, but nothing's really consistent here because then the Colts are a 10th ahead of Madison, so really not a ton we can judge off of the Colts and Madison versus the other cores, and also Spirit against other cores, when really they're 2.6 ahead of the Colts, and then a few points back of the Cadets too. So we'll just have to wait and see with some of these cores. Let's take a look at the DCI World Class Leaderboard for this morning. The Bluecoats, a very high score last night, a good score for them, a 75.4. That's 4.5 higher than Crown's score the night before, but expect Crown's scores to kind of shoot up a little bit when they return to action in Muncie this Friday night. They basically do a whole week here, they're in Muncie. Really not any travel for them. They kind of help out or are a part of the Music for All Summer Symposium. And then they also just rehearse all week at Ball State. So Crown in Muncie, expect some new things to that show come Friday. They did add their closer at that show last year. Trying to find anything else here worth noting. Boston versus Bluecoats again tonight. I'll get to that in a minute. Go down to the finals bubble. We didn't really see any action here last night. Spirit gaining a few tenths of a point. And then the Colts and Madison really just haven't. I mean, the fact they haven't even passed the Academy yet, and the Academy haven't had a show since Sunday, that I think is saying something with those two and where they stand right now. Tonight, we only have one show, and that is Innovations in Brass in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. This is in the Pittsburgh area. DCI advertises this show as Pittsburgh. I just like to be kind of specific and tell you exactly where the show is in Monroeville, that is. Everything gets underway here about 7:30 Eastern Time with the Welcome and National Anthem, then a lineup of 5 world-class scores here, starting off with Music City, moving on to Spirit of Atlanta, the Cadets, Boston Crusaders, and then the Bluecoats just before 9. Just after 9, then, the Bluecoats will perform the encore, and then somewhere around 9:35, scores will be announced from this show. What to watch for here? Obviously, the biggest battle, and maybe the only battle, is Boston versus Bluecoats. Can Boston pull within a point? They still haven't been able to do that, and they've kind of fallen behind Crown a little bit. So can they maybe make some up from the Bluecoats? If Boston's going to win the championship, a week from now, I'll be talking about the results from MetLife Stadium next Tuesday. And if Boston is going to win the World Championship this year, they're going to have to get very close to the Bluecoats within the next week. I'm not saying pass them, but you have to be within a half a point, because if they can't beat the Bluecoats or even get close to the Bluecoats, they're not going to get close to Vanguard, Blue Devils, or Crown when they return to action with them. The Cadets here, it'll be interesting to see how close they can get to Boston and Bluecoats, especially in captions that they're strong in. General Effect, they've not been weak in. And then also look over to music, and especially percussion, like I just talked about for them. And then Spirit here, they've had some strong points, they've had some weak points. I'd say don't be within a point of Music City in anything, and you'd be in good shape. And the other thing with the Cadets is, kind of the Cadets and Spirit, can Spirit pass the Cadets in anything tonight, especially the visual caption, with the Cadets kind of struggling there. I think the Cadets, you'll see them go up in visual proficiency, basically on how they march, and then visual analysis on the drill, and they've had some problems with the drill so far this season, but once they work those things out, their scores, I think, will go back to where they need to be. I don't, at least at this point, I don't know if anybody can pass them except maybe the Blue Stars and the Mandarins. And the Mandarins, I'd give the better chance to. So the show tonight, Innovations in Brass, is at Antamarino Stadium in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Here's a look at the weather for the evening. I would not be surprised if between the participating corps, and most specifically the Bluecoats, the hosts of the event, they may move up this show a little bit. They may move it up to 7. I would expect that decision to be made throughout the day, though. That's not something they can make right away by moving course performance times up 30 minutes, with course arriving at a specific time and then warming up and everything. So I would not be surprised if they maybe make that decision, with thunderstorms coming in by about 9 o'clock, and then the Bluecoats are about done at 9. So maybe to avoid that, they might do something, but there's no intermission to cancel or anything, so who knows. But again, the Bluecoats are done just about at 9 o'clock, so I would not be surprised also if they didn't do anything at all. But it looks like a okay evening in Monroeville, Pennsylvania for this one. Today's question of the day, my new segment here, is something that has nothing at all to do with the current season and kind of just drum corps in general. And the question of the day today is, what is the one thing that you would tell someone about drum corps before they see it live? Please leave your response in the comment section below or tag me on Twitter at drumcorpsgeek. There is a reason I'm asking this. I might dive a little bit deeper into this by the end of the week, but at least for right now, that's just the question for now, is what is that one thing that you would tell someone about drum corps or even the activity before they see it live? So thanks for watching the podcast today. I have just a few things. Make sure to visit my website, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com, for all the latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours. Scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more can all be found at my own personal website about all things drum corps. Make sure to follow me on social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Drum Corps Geek, and subscribe to the Show Day podcast on YouTube, where this podcast and more will be posted. If you would like the podcast to be delivered to your inbox, please email me at drumcorpsgeek@gmail.com. And finally, leave your thoughts in the comment sections, questions, input, comments, etc., whatever you have to say. I'd love to hear it. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And tonight's action will make for a great podcast again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.